We help people in a way that they don't have to move very long distances to the health center. We're picking up the very sick patients, emergency cases, then the priority, and then the rest of the patients.
Malaria. Bokarangat na dalo malaria, bot na paracetamol, bot na logok, ampicillin syrup.
When you're saving one life and someone comes and testifies, you did this for me, it's fulfilling, it's a really good feeling.
And we're back. Welcome to Castlevania Legends Any %. We do have the dramatic reading unlocked, and on screen we've got TempestMask1000 and their commentators. I'll let them introduce themselves. Welcome to Speed Doxathon 2023.
Thank you very much, Emily, and hello, friends and fellow gamers. It's good to be back here at SDAT, and you all may know me from last year. You also might have seen me at Launch Party with Curse Crackers, For Whom the Bell Toils, which, fun fact, that game actually turned 1 year old as of yesterday, and also got a Switch port on the 24th of last month. So if you would like to go ahead and check that out on a home console, now is your chance. But with that in mind, you also may have seen me do Mega Man Extreme 2 last SDAT, and today we're going to be continuing this little trend of me showcasing games that not a lot of people might have heard of. This is Castlevania Legends, and what a time it will be. For those that do not know of the fact that Castlevania had Game Boy games, well, prepare to learn. With that said, joining me is somebody who held the world record for quite a while, a good friend of mine, someone I'm happy to have me joining once again for commentary, Agent Wyvern.
Hello, hello, hello. Look, I'm happy to be here for this jolly run of Castlevania Legends. It's always a very interesting game. It's kind of tends to be the forgotten one of the Castlevania Game Boy trilogy, but it's got some very interesting tech in it from a speedrun point of view, so we get excited to see that today.
Absolutely. And just a reminder, folks, that while we are doing the dramatic script reading, this is going to involve maybe a handful of moments. So we're particularly looking at the beginning, the end, but also a couple of pre-boss cutscenes. So you're not looking at a whole lot of dialogue, but it's still going to be something, I assure you. And
it'll be something.
I have not done this since the first time I ever ran this at an event. So it's a well-regarded return, if I do say so myself. Time will begin once I select the standard mode feature, though. And also, I am treating you all to the color palette of what it's like to play this game on the Super Game Boy. So, with that in mind, Emily, would you like to count us down?
Are we ready? We ready in full for a great dramatic time?
I'm very much ready.
All right, you got this. No worries. 3, 2, 1, start.
And we will now strike the night. All right, my friends, this is the tale of a young girl's struggle to single-handedly provide Transylvania a place ruled by madness and despair with the light of hope.
That was amazing.
Thank you very much, yes. I might want to become a voice actor someday, just saying. Alright, so this is our protagonist, Sonia Belmont, and for those that may know the Castlevania series, you may recall that the Belmont clan's playable characters are usually male. But this is the one exception. Unfortunately, as Wyvern mentioned, this game is, well, a little bit forgotten. And why is that? Well, it's non-canonical. It was sort of deemed this way by Koji Igarashi, the longtime producer and of Castlevania. Now retired, of course, and the head of the Bloodstained franchise, as we all know these days. But with that in mind, it's basically a game that tried to follow off the heels of the second game and the most well-regarded one of the trilogy, that being Castlevania II Belmont's Revenge, the second and last of the Christopher Belmont titles. Now, the difference here is that Sonia tries to be a origin story of sorts to the Belmont clan, in that she was the first major member of the group to wield the vampire killer whip and essentially make history as the one to face Dracula first. So, it's with that in mind that you all know nowadays this wouldn't necessarily be true. If you're familiar with Lament of Innocence for the PlayStation 2, I believe it was, then you would know that actually would be Leon Belmont's honor. And Iga decided not to go this way, only because there are a couple of events that he felt would very much conflict with the main canon overall. So, it's with that and the fact that he wasn't too impressed with the game at the end of the day that he just figured there was no harm, no foul in striking it from the timeline. A shame, because Sonia herself was supposed to make a second playable appearance, sorry, English is hard right now, for the cancelled Dreamcast title, Castlevania Resurrection, which, if you are curious about that one, there is a officially released, well, not officially, but, officially brought out beta version of the game, so give that a go. You might be intrigued by it, but alright, enough talk about the game's history, because we got some gameplay to speak of, and I'll let my commentator go ahead and handle the needs to know.
So, for this is stage one, and you're familiar with other Castlevania games. You might be familiar with picking up like sub-weapons, your holy waters, your crosses, your daggers, your axes. This game works a bit differently. You actually start with nothing like that, and you unlock powers at the end of each level, which use up hearts that you carry over in the same way sub-weapons did. Some of the similar effects though, so at the end of this level we will unlock a time stop, which works pretty much the same as the stopwatch. I think it's like wind or something. It's kind of elemental powers in this game. So it works like the stopwatch costs 5 hearts, and that'll be a big play in level 2. But for level 1, it's kind of just Sonia, a whip, and a dream, really. Seeing how it goes. There's a lot of cycles and stuff you can catch with enemies here, with like certain damage boosts and stuff. And some of them are quite tricky. There's a lot you can work with, because you can have a lot of control over Sonia. It's almost a little odd at first, because in a lot of the classic Castlevania titles, you kind of have a very fully committed jump, whereas in this game, like the second you let go of forward, Sonia is like stopping dead in midair and just falling like a stone. It's quite unusual to get used to.
It really
But she also has something called the burning mode bar. So you see that little B at the bottom there with the purple squares. Activating it there, Tempest Mask, and then what that does is gives you iframes, like you're completely invulnerable during the state, and then also makes you run really fast, which is very useful from a speedrun perspective.
Normally I would have used that within the first time we went down a floor or two, a proverbial floor anyway, but not this time. Ever since the current world record holder put up his submission onto the leaderboard, and I did a little bit of studying of it, I realized, oh hey, this would be a good time to use that within one of the later areas of the level. There's not too much different otherwise, per se, but it's just slight optimizations that have been more or less discovered for each person that has decided to try this game and see if they can't, you know, change the fastest time around. You know, the small things that just effectively make a Castlevania run a Castlevania run.
Yeah, like there's a lot of optimization. Uchida, who has the current world record, did a lot of optimization. Great work with this run. Changed, as TempestMask said, changed some of the burning mode usage locations, and then also brought in a lot of stuff from the newer TAS for 100% that was made by Strizer86, I believe.
Yes.
And just really brought in a lot of cool stuff. But we're on to the first boss now. The I guess it's like a bat person. Yes, there we go. And it's just going to keep kind of jumping towards Sonya here. But TempestMask getting a lot of good whips in. You kind of have to sort of like draw him out like that, and brilliantly done there. And that's the end of stage 1. And we'll now unlock the time stop, the wind ability for level 2.
And the reason this is so important is because you'll notice that my heart count did not drop as compared to your usual Castlevania fare. That's very big considering that, yes, this game does not clock your hearts into score, which for one, that does not mean we have to worry about wasting all of them for time optimization. And on the other hand, it's also especially good for just having the ammo on hand in general, because that time stop is going to be super duper useful for moments where things can get pretty dangerous, especially with some of the stuff that can potentially happen within this level. That's not to say that it is the worst of its kind, but I certainly want to be mindful of an enemy type we'll be introduced to called the Knights in armor or something like that. I don't know their official name per se, but if I feel like I'm in a little bit of danger, I will potentially pop 5 hearts to stop time ever so briefly. But otherwise, they're generally safe to handle as long as you know when they're going to strike. To explain further, they pace back and forth, and after the 3rd or 4th time they do so, they will charge at you, and that is when you want to be extra mindful of them. So, aside from that, there's not really much in terms of dangerous foes per se. I mean, you got the zombies, you got the bats, the big skeleton heads. Oh gosh, wait, I got stuck in one. That's no fun. Okay. I was gonna say, they operate like boos from the Mario series, where as long as you're looking at them, they will stay frozen in place.
Yeah, and also it's a good use for the time stop as well, as we saw there, to sort of freeze them at before they start charging you, and effectively you can just ignore them and scroll them off screen.
Okay.
A lot of rooms like this, which are very annoying because of the kind of awkward platforming while getting shot at by a bunch of like projectiles, can be tricky to get through them, but we're doing quite well here. Made it through that room. Onto this bridge that very slowly falls behind you, that Sony does not seem to be in a particular rush to avoid, just still casually walking away from it.
You gotta keep moving though, or otherwise you will die to that thing, and it has happened to me when I first casually played it. It's a simple thing to keep you going, if you will. But this hallway is the consistent place to use burning mode. Of course, there will be a few cases of slowdown because this is a Game Boy game. It's not the most optimal in handling screen stuff all the time, and that's just how it is. So sometimes enemy management can be important. Of course, I really just want to like tank through those things though, not really giving it much mind. And yeah, we also got to talk about that little thing I just did when I killed that armored knight. So that particular armored knight was tied to those spikes that were in this room just a moment ago, and if I try to walk across them, Sonya will take a massive amount of damage and it's just not worth. So on top of that, you also had to see me do a little dramatic drop via the ropes, swinging on over to safe ground. Ooh, gotta be a little careful there. And then yeah, just, you can't really expect to walk to the door that way. You can't expect to damage boost your way to the door. The game
Yeah, we actually tested it and it doesn't open anyway, sadly.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny how it's just kind of funny because Yeah, the interesting thing about this game is that it was actually developed by KCE Nagoya, Konami's Nagoya studio, and you may recall them for having done the Sega Saturn port of Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Aside from that, they never really developed an actual Castlevania game, and for this being their first time, they did pretty well, but obviously some critics were picking a little thing or two about it that they, to some people, it didn't feel like the proper experience they would have expected to come after Belmont's Revenge, which fair is fair, but overall, that's just the highs and the lows in a nutshell. And now we're coming into the Dragon Zombie, so this guy likes to shoot fireballs either high, medium, or low, and okay, this is not gonna be good, because now I gotta be extra careful. Okay, good, I was a little bit lucky there. Ooh. Now he's gonna drop some ceiling tiles. I had a feeling. Yeah, I had to play it a little bit safe, yeah. If I die, my hearts are gone. And that's quite the disadvantage to have in this run. Alright.
Very scary, the zombie dragon. Nicely handled. That was very scary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that dragon zombie behaves very strangely and can throw fireballs at you at very, very awkward moments. But now we've unlocked a new magical power, the healing bubbles. That's very, very expensive, and we can't afford to use that too often. So we're going back to the time stop because it's so powerful, especially in this stage where burning mode is a little tricky to use effectively. There's a couple of places that Uchi has kind of worked on putting them in, but it's a very sort of awkward level. This is always my worst nightmare of a level trying to play it, because it's mainly about upward mobility, which is not really this game's strong suit, to be honest.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about climbing yet. So the rope ladders are usually used as transition points between rooms within the level. The problem with this game, and other Castlevania games on the Game Boy in all fairness, is that if you attempt to jump down the pit, the game will consider you dead. Which, yeah, we don't want that, and this game is sadly no different. You would think that Konami would at least imagine a Belmont protagonist being physically capable enough to withstand a fall from maybe a couple rooms down or so, but they decided not to.
Yes, the Belmonts always seem to have some sort of Achilles heel, and for most of them it's the fact that they can't swim, and the slightest touch of water just immediately kills them.
That too, yeah, wow, that's very true. Oh yeah, we were also introduced to my least favorite enemy of the game here. I guess I would sometimes call them lizard men, but yeah, we'll talk about them more in a bit. Here's our first mini-boss.
Yes, the dragon of a highly concerning hitbox that is possibly the size of Jupiter. Scientists haven't quite measured it yet, but it's very, very massive hitbox, but doing well to manipulate it around there, and taking the correct damage boost, getting some extra shots on with the weapon. Nicely done. Mini-boss defeated, and a rope of congratulations falls down that we can climb up to the next area, and more clock tower climbing.
I took a little bit safety there. It wasn't really necessary to have to do that. I just figured why not, and also I accidentally went to the right anyway. So that was kind of a runner mistake that I just did. Whoa! Da, 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 da.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah, those enemies are really annoying because sometimes they come at angles that are just really difficult to whip, and it's some of the enemy spawning in this game is kind of dependent on screen scrolling. Ooh, nice. Oh, there we go. Got the heal off. That is a useful sort of backup mechanic there. Is costly on the old heart count, but it is certainly preferable to dying and then losing all the hearts anyway.
Yes. The nice thing about this game, though, is it's fairly forgiving. Instead of gaming over to the point where it takes you to the beginning of the level, the game overs here actually take you to your nearest checkpoint, and that's good. But of course, you have to still deal with no hearts once you respawn, and also, we're playing on standard mode, or I am anyway, and there actually is a slight difference between it and light mode. Particularly in light mode, you're always going to have a fully upgraded whip, and that's from the get-go, leading on to no matter how many times you die. And in standard mode, I had to collect those orbs in order to upgrade, so yeah, a little bit of fair play in calling it the standard mode, so. But The usual whip upgrades as seen in the Game Boy games is as follows. You got the chain whip, and then you got the fireball whip.
Yeah, it's interesting. In the first Castlevania game, you basically never saw the the first Castlevania Game Boy game, you never saw the fireball whip because any hit would sort of immediately remove it. Although that game ran at about 5 frames a second and probably could have been ported to a flipbook. But in Castlevania Legends, you get to luckily keep all of the upgrades. You don't lose them on hit. Even Belmont's Revenge, which is considered generally the best of the trilogy, you still lost it occasionally to particular enemies, but get to keep it all throughout this game, and it works. It's quite well. It's the range of it's slightly shorter than maybe we're used to, but I think it's the fireball definitely has a lot of comes in clutch quite a lot here. A lot of the gears we're jumping on here. It's tricky to catch some of these cycles as well, and some of them times they kind of glitch out. There's one gear I think in a room coming up that sometimes just won't move and just will not work, which is a little bit concerning. But yeah, it's always scary when those enemies try and come to hit you off as well. But nicely handled there by Tempest. Going into more climbing. I always forget this room exists. For some reason I always just keep thinking it's like the boss coming up.
I know, that happens to me all the time.
There we go, nicely handled. Like jumping to that platform there, because that one's a really sort of comes from a very concerning angle. There we go. Oh,
now we should be getting up to the boss.
Yes. To Mr. Death with his scythes and his interesting, cool outfit. So Tempest is going to get some couple of whips to start in here. Uses burning mode, which makes this fight considerably easier. You can constantly chase him down. Poor Death can't escape. He's very, very upset by all these developments, but he must go down, and we must move on to the 4th stage. But nicely done. Boss defeated.
That was a gold split, actually.
Yeah, that was good. Nicely done, because the stage 3 is the trickiest level in my opinion. And now at level 4 we've unlocked a new power as well, the fire, which is almost like it does like 1 damage to everything on the screen when you activate it.
It's kind of funny because it sounds useful, but it does normal damage. Normal damage meaning that it might not kill the enemy. Alright, hang on. Here we go. There's the damage boost I needed to do.
Nicely done.
I recently realized that can be a little bit more helpful than just trying to play Fates and stuff to that night. He usually knocks me off into the spikes, and that's when I have to initiate burning mode. Funnily enough, though, in 100%, we actually do initiate a death warp in this stage. And the reason for that is because it quickly takes us to the checkpoint much faster than going all the way back downward. Which, what even is an 100% setting for this game, one might ask? Well, there are collectible items. You might have seen the empty spots that will sadly remain empty in my menu on the bottom, but those are actually the typical sub-weapons of the Castlevania franchise, and Sonia has to collect them. Why she does not use them, I have no clue. But hey, speaking of Castlevania faces, here's Medusa.
She's got a sword for some unknown reason. She's slowly trying to hit Sonia, can't quite reach her head while crouching, so unfortunately I guess Medusa's got a very bad arm and just can't quite angle it downwards to hit Sonia, and she quickly disappears and floats off to be a Medusa head somewhere else.
Exactly.
Nicely done.
Yeah, you might have noticed that just might be how Medusa heads were meant to be sort of originated and stuff. At least that was a joke that my friend Aishma, wonderful runner, once said while I was running this game for an event. Okay, that's not gonna fly. So that was supposed to be a double series of damage boosts. I was hoping to do it just right with the second one, but yeah, I figured just hitting him was gonna do enough once I lost momentum there.
Yeah, this is a level of a lot of interesting damage boosts and kind of a lot of potential different ways of approaching it. Like a lot of runners take some deaths on this level intentionally just to get like burning mode back, and so it's because there's so many, because the spikes do so much damage. It's kind of hard to get through this level quickly without losing all of the health. So. Oh, that's an awkward pellet, but well done. Sometimes these flowers throw like really annoying pellets at you, and they kind of catch you when you don't expect them to.
Ooh, oh, that's
moving
close.
under its hitbox. Ooh, yeah,
okay, yeah.
Very close. Then it unfroze from the time and then caught Sonya. That's very unfortunate.
Yeah. So, I got a little fun fact for anybody that likes Super Mario World Kaizo ROM hacks. If you're familiar with Grand Poo World 2, you might recognize this song playing during the Reznor boss castle, or at least one of them if I'm not mistaken. And it took me a while to realize that too, but this game has some generally great composition to it. Probably some of my favorites when it comes to Classicvanias. Like, these songs are hardly recognized, and that's just unfortunate because I think the composer here, whoever that might be, did a wonderful job just trying to put all this together, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think this whole soundtrack kind of does go under the radar because the whole game goes under the radar. But I think it's one of my favourite versions of, like, Bloody Tears we heard in Stage 1. I think this Stage 4 track, as you say, is particularly good as well. So I think they definitely did quite a wonderful job as we come into another room with these annoying knights. They are so scary because you never know when they're quite going to charge you.
It's usually 3 or 4. That's from my calculation, at least. I never remember the exact number, though, but it's usually enough to the point where, you know, the next time they charge is going to be at the opposite end, so that much I can say with certainty.
Yeah, I always get it wrong, and then I just start screaming when they come out of nowhere sometimes.
I feel that. Oh, hey, we got the knight despawn.
Oh, nice. Yeah, this whole room can get very, very glitchy as well. If you're fast enough to actually climb that previous room like really quickly, all the enemies start loading in the wrong space, and it's all quite concerning.
All right, dialogue time. Here we go.
Oh, here we go. Let's see. Oh, it's Alucard. And Sonia, I didn't think it was true, but it's you.
Alucard, I could say the same, but what are you doing here?
Listen to me, Sonia. This is no place for someone like you.
But, Alucard...
This problem only concerns me and my father. I've come to fight the lord of this castle. I cannot let my father, Count Dracula, get away with this. I must do this for my mother and the world she dearly loved. Please understand, I am the only one who can make amends for the sins committed by Peter Breve. I'm my father, and there is no reason for you to get involved in this battle. Sonia, I could not bear to lose you. No, turn back.
Thank you, Alucard. You're probably right. In fact, you have always made the right decisions. But I have no intention of going back now. Just as your father was granted strength from the evil deity to conquer the world, I have been granted strength to fight your father. I will not run away. We all decide our own fate. It was you who taught me that, Alucard.
All right, Sonia, then show me this strength you believe in so strongly, for I too want to believe. Let us test this strength on me. Prepare yourself.
And it's Alucard fight time. So obviously I'm going to use my burning mode for this one. And he's got a few moves that may seem a bit reminiscent to Castlevania 3. Generally speaking, anyway. And
You also
done.
Can't hit. Oh, there we go. I was about to say he can't hit Sonya with his sword very well, just like Medusa, but he's already. Oh, sorry. Owie!
I had no idea. You still your line. Still your line.
Sorry, this is Bill. Hang on. Sorry, I've just been very badly injured. I had no idea you had become this strong.
Oh, Alucard.
It looks like this time, still injured, I learned a lesson.
Alucard, did you purposely?
No, Sonia, you have made me believe in your strength.
Alucard, I'm so sorry.
Do not trouble yourself about. Oh, hang on, that's a bit too nonchalant, isn't it? Don't trouble yourself about it, Sonia. Now I must sleep. I fear I shall not meet you again. Farewell, my beloved, my beautiful vampire slayer.
Alucard, I will never forget you. Farewell, dear Alucard. And then automatic cutscene. She walks to him as he disappears, and then I gain control of her again. Oh Holy jeez. I just realized, too, that the script on the link that I gave Wyvern here is actually a little different from the in-game dialogue. I'm like, wait, for goodness?
Whoopsie.
It's all good. All right, folks, final level time. And let's see just how well this goes. By the way, just a reminder, folks, that I'm doing this all for you and for the children. We raised money to make this happen, and I have you to thank. Keep in mind that I willingly gave myself a sort of incentive where PBing is more than likely impossible, and yet I was all for the entertainment, you know. So I just want you all to know I'm doing this for the kids, and I hope you all enjoy what I'm doing for the kids, because let me tell you, this feels so nostalgic of the first time I have ever done it. And oh geez. Oh, that stalagmite did a lot of damage. Where's that, a stalactite again?
The concerning nature of level 5, the spikes everywhere with even more concerning hitboxes than the previously most concerning hitboxes.
Oh, yes.
We're going to move on here. This is now from this level you can get to the secret level, stage 6 that Tempest mentioned earlier, but we don't want that. We're in a bit of a hurry, you know. Alucard's just died or gone to sleep or whatever he's up to. We've got to make sure Dracula dies in time. But burning mode.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted. Okay, so I'm probably going to do a little bit of a safety then. I'll think about this one, but hear me out. I'm probably going to replenish it by taking an intentional death. So what I'm going to then do is I'm going to willingly use my hearts to the best of my ability on this one, because having burning mode is actually kind of nice to have for the final boss fight. Oh no, I don't want to go there. I did not want to go there. I done goofed.
We're in Scary Town. That's very scary, and the water's pushing us off. It's okay, but we'll back up.
Yeah, there's a death pit there. I thought there was a ledge where you could hit another candle, but nope, it was indeed a death pit.
Yes,
not the one I wanted.
In Castlevania, if there can be a death pit, there will be a death pit.
So here's the Minotaur. He's a very simple boss, as you can tell. He's a very simple beast of nature. The beast of nature simply moves from platform to platform. Oh, such magnificence.
Indeed.
Oh, you were thinking I was going for Steve Irwin. I was actually trying for my inner David Attenborough.
Ooh.
No, that was intentional. That was the intentional.
There's an interesting glitch on that Minotaur screen as well that can happen that I noticed, is that if you use the wave ability, which we unlocked after level 4. We unlocked it at some point. Anyway, you lose the wave ability, it'll actually stay around on the screen. If you use it the second the screen loads, which is very odd, but it means that the boss can actually damage himself on this stationary wave that you've created.
Oh wow, that's actually kind of cool. If only that had an actual speed purpose though, because dying would mean having to go all the way back to the chamber, and that's probably never fun.
Oh no. Here we go. Ooh.
Yeah, no, that was intentional. Here. So you notice that Sonya can actually go down some jump-through platforms if you hold down and press the jump button. It's actually really handy. Also, we never did talk about crouching. Yeah, it's generally the same thing as what Simon can do in Super Castlevania 4. It's a really nice touch, actually, because while it doesn't have too much purpose, aside from maybe trying to go for defensive maneuvers instead of trying to go fast, well, there's that, or also just the fact that I used it on Medusa to dodge her sword.
Yeah, it's interesting with the different ways to approach it. It's nicely done there. Level 5 is just a scary level in general, though. It's very easy for some of these bats to hit you. I always find that when you're stuck on a rope, it's always the bat coming in from an angle that you can't hit. And I feel that once enemies get on top of you in this game, it's sometimes very tricky to actually kind of get them off you. It's a little bit annoying in that respect. Ooh, nicely dodged on the hit from the knight there.
Okay, yeah, that was probably going to charge at me, but that's no big deal. Hey, so, y'all, I gotta just make a quick mention that once I entered that door, I like to call that room the Chamber of No Return. At that point, that is the last checkpoint that the game will give you, and if you die to anything, including the boss, you get sent all the way back there. And so you can't backtrack, you only have a limited amount of hearts to work with at this point in the game, and whatever other resources are allocated to you at this point within this portion of the level. So you best believe that you want to try and play to the best of your ability, or you're probably going to be here for a while, and that certainly can be a beginner's bane when it comes to learning the run. Like I said, this game is generally openly... I can't talk right now. It's generally forgiving, though.
Yeah, it's I didn't even realize like a continue would put you at the nearest checkpoint until you mentioned it. That's really kind of them, which is unusual for a series that very rarely is kind to its player. It usually just gives you a disapproving frown and just puts you back to the start.
Didn't think of
Awkward angles again.
All right.
These sort of diagonal angles are really irritating on the enemies.
Not much I could do about that. My hope was that by taking the death at the other checkpoint, it would have given me the chance to get these more hearts for the Dracula fight. The good news, I would say, is that now that I've generally got a good understanding of knowing what to use during the real problematic Dracula form, well, let's just say I don't have too much to worry about. At least I don't think so anyway. We'll see if he decides to juke me anyway, but like, these Dracula fights, they're very scripted. They follow a very specific pattern. Oh no, it's stuck behind a knight, as per usual.
Ooh, but managed to get him down though. Yeah, those knights take a lot of hits as well, which is always frustrating.
I still think the ladder lizards are my least favorite, though. I never actually talked about him. I think they are called lizard men. They look like it anyway. It's just a very unpleasant foe to fight. That's the long and short of it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the name either. I probably would just call them enemy number 42. That makes me very upset in a long list of enemies that make me upset in this game.
Yeah.
But just gotta work our way through the knights again, and there's a nice sort of pork chop waiting in a room at the end of here.
Their hitboxes are so annoying. It's just one of those rare occasions where I remember some of the issues I would have with this room. It's not a fun reminder,
Yeah.
but you know, it's a thing to note all the same in this otherwise speedrun of a pretty cool game overall.
Yeah, it's always like someone's like used the burning mode here just to kind of get through this nice and easy, but then obviously you don't have the burning mode for Dracula, which can be a nice safety as well.
It really is. That's what I always prefer to use on that particular fight. Just that's all there is to it.
These knights always scare me. I never know when they're going to charge.
All right. Oh, right. So I got a little bit of... Okay, I'm going to go for it. Nope, that didn't quite work. Okay, sorry about that, folks. We're going to keep going, though. We still have a little bit of time within the projected estimate, if I'm not mistaken, so let's at least try and see if I can manage a little bit something better. I think now's a good time, though, to pass it on over to our host if there's any announcements or messages to be made.
We're not here to have a good long time. We're just here to have a good time. So thank you. No worries at all. We're here for Save the Children. You're listening to Speed Docs-a-thon 2023 weekend 2, day 4 with Speed Docs. You've got TempestMask1000 is playing with commentator Agent Wyvern, and I am just enjoying this very, very much. And also the Wyvern jokes, the Jupiter scientific comparison for the hitbox, that had me giggling. So no, this is great. We appreciate you for being here, and don't even worry about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Out of curiosity, though, can I just have a quick reminder of my projected estimate for this one?
53 minutes.
Yep.
53. What? Wait, no. 53 minutes. There's no way I...
33. No, did I say 53? Uh-oh.
Okay. It was good. I was going to say, it was... I know how to put up safe estimates, but yeah, no, there's... Yeah. Well, I guess we just forgot to make a slight adjustment because this is the dramatic reading after all. Oh well, no,
Yeah,
nothing to it.
I mean, it's gone pretty smooth. It's just this room is always really tricky because the knights just take so long to die, and it's very, very easy for them to hit you at any moment.
All right, so we're just going to keep on going. So the idea here is I need to try and yeah, I just might need to hit them a few times before I try to go up close and personal.
Definitely whittling them down.
So they take 5 hits from the chain whip, and I should also mention that, at least to my knowledge anyway, there is unfortunately no way to utilize the fireball whip, which, you know what, is fine. It's not as strong as the chain whip anyway, but it's, considering the Dracula fight, it would come in handy. Luckily, the wave ability from Alucard that we got will also fulfill that niche, kind of, sort of. So
Yeah. The fireball's very annoying for like up close enemies because it'll often hit the enemy instead of the whip, which means that you end up doing less damage to enemies and bosses. And there we go. There's the upgrade for the flame whip and the pork chop to get us back up to the health. And now it's Mr. Dracula.
that is correct. Oh, by the way, yes, candle meat in this game, not wall meat, candle meat. It's certainly something. So actually,
Keeps it nice, freshly cooked.
The funny part is that I actually have just enough hearts to heal if I have to, but I'm not necessarily going to go for that. All right, here we go. Dialogue time.
Oh, you have done well, my girl. In fact, you are the first human to come this far. You have my praise.
You are the Prince of Darkness. Because of you, many people have died. Many people have suffered.
Oh, no, my dear. I have merely done what you humans wished for, fulfilling your
Insatiable.
Yes, that. Thank you, my dear, in fulfilling those desires.
People must fulfill their dreams with their own power. You, who have been consumed by the power of evil, no longer have the strength to determine your own fate. Lost an input there, sorry.
Silence! On the contrary, I'm just the one to use this power, and I will be the king who rules over the entire world. Give yourself to me, young lady. There may be merit in having your presence.
My strength will only be used to protect the world. Lord of Darkness, prepare to suffer for trifling with so many lives.
Well, as you wish then, girl. Then it's your fate to kneel before my power.
Phase 1. So, Phase 1 and Phase 2 are within scripted warp positions, and Dracula will continue to fire fireballs. We got a half spread going on here, and yeah, that's his only real attack, actually. So there's not too much to worry about. Just try not to take damage is the name of the game.
Indeed, he'll warp around at a set pattern similar to how he does in Belmont's Revenge, but in this game he has far less annoying attacks.
And far less animation frames, for that matter.
That's a good point.
All
He's
right.
gonna keep throwing the fireballs, but this is going well, and now we've got full burning mode for phase 2. Well.
You are
a worthy foe. You're a very worthy foe. I can't see this on the wiki, so I'm having to read it from the stream.
You have to wait.
Lasted much longer than you have.
Good for
lasted.
memory.
Yes, you've lasted much longer than most, but you
Prepare
said
yourself.
you were the first one here. I'm very prepared, and I don't know. I've been toying with you. Yes, that's it. And now it's time to get serious.
Enjoy Vampire Slayer, folks.
Yes, so we're going to whip this head here as it teleports around the room in a set pattern. It's interesting, really. It's like the background looks very scary, but it has no hitbox. It's just this head that can hit us, and the only sort of weak point.
Oh, jeez. I almost felt like I slipped there. That was so sad.
That would be very sad, but we've got it. And now
Time.
the head is going to quickly... dive. Nice, nicely done, GG.
I forgot to say time was on the final hit.
Oh no!
We'll get it. You keep going. Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no! This cannot be! Me losing to a human?
You poor man. It must be difficult to understand why you, who possesses eternal life, are about to perish. Humans are granted such a precious short life in comparison to yours, but in that short time we are able to love and to live for someone else. There must have been a time when you too cherished the bonds with the ones you loved. We humans are not so foolish as to throw away all of that in exchange for the power you received. There is no place in this world for the likes of you. You were already defeated when you accepted the power of the darkness.
Hee hee. Ha ha ha. Don't let it go to your head, girl. Do you really think the likes of you can destroy me? You're a fool, just as Alucard was. Listen to me. Darkness will never die out as long as there is light in the world. And I am the ruler of that darkness, and I will rise again, and again, and again, and a few more times, as long as people like you are alive. Again and again, I tell you.
When that happens, someone will appear before you to take my place. If it is my fate to again be a vampire hunter, I will be ready. No, I will gladly accept that destiny. So until your soul is saved, until all the evil desires in the world are exhausted, goodbye, O ruler of evil. Goodbye, O woeful prince of darkness. And that, friends, is Castlevania Legends for the Game Boy, released in 1997. Not only the year I was born, but also the year that Castlevania Symphony of the Night came out. And now you understand why Alucard was even thrown into this game. And yes, some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have pointed out that there was a bit of a supposed romantic interaction between these two. Not sure why the writers of this game thought that was a good idea, because, oh, yo, if you all encounter the true ending of this game, which you need to get all the collectible items and spells for, soul weapons for, yeah. You can probably see why Koji Igarashi figured, okay, yeah, I don't think I can work with this. But we got the standard ending, and surprisingly the game still keeps in mind your hit score, which not sure how you're supposed to get more than a certain amount of number or whatever, but hey, so be it. Thank you so much though for SDAT to having me once again. It was a pleasure to showcase yet another lesser-known title of a very popular series for you all. And while this game is sadly not available on re-releases like the Castlevania Anniversary Collection, I highly implore you to give this a go ahead to try to maybe emulate it for yourself, see how you can get your hands on this game. See what you think about it. It's really not a bad game. It just maybe had its foot in the wrong door. Something like that. But
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And can we get make sure? So while you're wrapping up, I want to make sure we know where to see you if you have a stream or anything, and then Agent Wyvern too. If you have any last words for us, we appreciate your time here and coming back to SDAT.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I was just about to get to that actually. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, we'll start with you, Wyvern. Where can these wonderful people find you?
Probably in the corner of a room crying about Castlevania somewhere, but usually just twitch.tv/Agent Wyvern. But thank you very much for having me as well. It's been a pleasure to be here and commentate this with you.
I'd love to do it again someday. All right, and with that, you can also follow me on Twitch here at TempestMask1000. That's also the name of my YouTube channel if you want to check out any content that I do remember to post, because I am so bad at posting stuff sometimes, but also I'm just a little bit busy as well. Other than that, I will say you can check out my Twitter at @It'sTempestSteve, and no, I will not refer to it as an X account. That is my decision and mine alone. But yes, I try to post stream updates there only because I am not I am not a frequent streamer, so anytime you would like to know when I may plan on going live, check me there. But thanks again once more to SDAT, and also a shout out to the Castlevania speedrunning community. If you'd like to learn any of our games, go ahead and check out our link on any of the speedrun.com leaderboards, and we will gladly help you out whenever, however we can. So that's going to do it for me with this event, and I wish everyone the best of luck in raising more money as we save the children. I always look forward to seeing what we can do to help our planet's next generation and all that good jazz, so let's keep making lives better. And with that, this is TempestMask1000 signing off. Ciao, amici!
With that, we'll be back here shortly. We're going to start our Resident Evil block, and I'll see you here in intermission. Take this time, get some water and all that jazz, and we'll see you here in just a minute. What a fun, dramatic time. My favorites were when he would say, Tempest would say Alucard, or when Wyvern was cracking jokes. Also,